PayPal. So let's talk about PayPal and why I am buying PayPal stock today. So I'm Mehdi for Tokyo Alpha Mind, and we are going to deep dive into their latest earnings and what I am seeing into PayPal and what is the potential for this stock to actually double in the next 5 years and to be actually a winner going forward in your portfolio, despite the fact that being actually a dead money stock in the past few years. So let's get started. But first, let's review the latest earnings for PayPal and where PayPal is actually standing today, so in the market. So in their latest earnings, so Q2 2025, so basically PayPal reported actually total payment volume growing around 6% year on year, and very similar for their revenue growing plus 5% year on year, and actually sitting today at $8 billion for the quarter. Basically, transaction margin actually establishing around 3.8 billion, so growing plus 7% year on year. And we are seeing also, I think the most important figures for the earning, so non-GAAP EPS at $1.4 per share, growing plus 18% year on year. In terms of free cash flow, so there was some negative impacts or adverse effect, and the free cash flow for this quarter actually establishing itself at $656 million. So actually, I think a pretty strong quarter for PayPal, and we are going to maybe deep dive a little bit more into their different earnings and their different segments. So the branded checkout continued to grow at 5% year on year basis, and today is actually kind of reached kind of a mature stage for PayPal. And now if we go to the P2P and other consumer products, growing at plus 10% year over year, so which is actually a pretty good growth and actually a huge support for PayPal growth. Then we have the payment service providers. So here again, not growing very much at 2%. So actually a little bit disappointing from Braintree, so on the PSP part, but we are seeing that the growth from PayPal is actually subdued, and I think this is what actually disappointed investors in their latest earnings. But what we have to see is today where are PayPal in terms of potential, and what we can see in terms of as well share repurchases that are actually the main thesis for PayPal going forward. I would just go straight to my thesis after this Q2 2025 earnings, so PayPal, and why today I think this is a good buy in terms of stock. It's not financial advice. Do your own due diligence. This is my own opinion, but for myself, I think I like the stock here. Why? I think that there are two things. First, the share repurchases and the fact that today PayPal is actually very cheap, and that PayPal is actually putting a lot of efforts to try to repurchase their stock. So today, the shareholder yield for PayPal is around 11%. The real share outstanding decrease is around 7%. This is actually mentioned in their Q2 2025 earnings. So basically, they are repurchasing after stock-based compensation, or they are reducing the number of shares by 7% every single year. So meaning that they are going to reduce it by half in the next 10 years, which is actually pretty good. But I think that they're going to actually up that, especially if they try to actually use their cash on their balance sheet and possibly as well use more debt to do that. Share repurchases is actually a huge thesis today for PayPal, even though that the stock has not moved in the past few years. And why? Because at some point the stock is going to have to actually rise very quick, because people are going to realize what's happening behind the scene. And we are seeing that today with their EPS. We have heard and we have seen that the EPS is growing by 18% year on year today, despite actually a growth of around 5% for PayPal. So the direct impact for PayPal of the share repurchases is going to be a double-digit growth in terms of EPS. And we're definitely going to see that these earnings per share are going to double in the next 5 years, and this is going to be reflected into PayPal share price at some point. There is no way that you are going to become the last shareholder of the company. So definitely the fact that they are repurchasing share at this level and at this pace is going to have an impact at some point on the share price. It's not being seen today, but definitely you can expect that at some point in the next 2 or 3 years, actually people are going to realize, and the thing is that the share price is going to actually rise and rise very quickly. Then the second part of my thesis is that this is actually a pretty good setup for PayPal today. There is a lot of optimism. This stock is being left for dead today in the market. No one believes in PayPal. Everybody calls it PayPal. And what we are seeing actually from Alex Chris is that they are kind of implementing some kind of turnaround, and it's kind of working. The image of PayPal is still being rebuilt, and we are seeing some very interesting initiatives. And definitely, I think that they have some very interesting actually projects today, and they are also going to benefit from AI. So what they have in mind actually in terms of potential. So yes, today the growth is not what it was before. So a growth of 5%, almost in line with inflation plus a little bit, is not very exciting. But they have three vectors of growth today that are, I think, quite underappreciated, especially given at this valuation. So PayPal actually trades at less than 10 times price to free cash flow, so very cheap today. But the fact that they are going to actually grow and get into these three spaces that we are going to mention is showing that there is a lot of potential and a good setup for PayPal. So what are these fields? So first, they are actually building stable coins, and this is going to benefit them tremendously, especially in terms of margin expansion, but also in terms of use case for crypto. A lot of more and more people today are using crypto, and I think that they're going to be one of the players in crypto, especially if they want to actually focus on this field. But that's the first thing. The second thing is that they are using the same strategy as Amazon, building some kind of ad network, and they definitely have the data to do that. And I think that they're going to be a good offering in terms of ads, and we will see that this business develop going forward and bringing more growth. And the third point, which is actually definitely underappreciated, is the fact that they're going to benefit as well from agentic AI. So they are going to be one of the gateway for all the agents to be able to purchase on the behalf of users. So maybe people are going to be using less and less website and using more and more agents. And I think PayPal is going to be a trusted partner for a lot of different agents and are going to basically benefit tremendously, I think, from this rise of agentic e-commerce, especially in terms of payments. Okay, so a quick reminder of the valuation of PayPal today, because the stock is actually pretty cheap and I cannot reiterate that enough. So what we are seeing in terms of forward valuation for PayPal, so price to earnings ratio was not the best metrics, but around 13. Okay, a price to operating cash flow around 8, price to free cash flow around 9, and a price forward EV to EBITDA, I would say around 9 as well. So you see that the stock is today very cheap, and given the fact that they have a lot of optionality, I think that this valuation today is actually very enticing today for the stock. A lot of people, they don't like the stock because it has not moved for years and it has actually decreased from their peak, but the valuation today is actually crazy. I don't think that there is any stock today with this valuation. This is the level that we have seen with Alibaba when it was at around $62. And I think that below 10 times price to free cash flow for PayPal, I think that this valuation doesn't make sense. And just for that, I think the stock is very interesting and every investor should be interested into PayPal today. Okay, so what's my takeaway for PayPal and why I'm buying the stock today? So first, the stock is dirt cheap, below like 9 times price to free cash flow. As we've said, that this is a valuation we have seen with Alibaba when it was below $70. So definitely very interesting valuation today for PayPal. And I think that just for that, people should be interested. Then what we are seeing that PayPal is dedicating all its free cash flow to buying back shares, and this is very effective. So today the share outstanding reduction is around 7%, so they are reducing the share count by 7% year on year, and we are seeing that translating actually into their EPS, because their EPS last quarter grew by 18%. So if this continue, there is no way that the EPS cannot actually double in the next 5 years, and this has to be translated in terms of share price. And third point, why I'm buying the stock as well, is because this is a very good setup. There is a lot of optionality for PayPal today to actually re-accelerate growth, and this will surprise a lot of people, especially with agentic AI, with stable coins, and with their ads business. So I think that a lot of people, they just leave PayPal for dead today because it doesn't move in terms of stock price. But behind the hood, there is so much potential that I think that this is an incredible play today in the market. If you're interested in other analysis like this one, so please tell me what you think about PayPal, if you think that this is a dead stock or if you think that there is potential here. Please check my other videos, please subscribe, and I see you in another one. Bye.